Welcome to Xi Jinping Briefing. The content of the briefing includes not high-tech burgers, how U.S. fast food giants are supersizing investment in China. From Gaza to Ukraine, U.S. risks imperial overstretch as China waits in wings. End the show trial of free speech hero Jimmy Lai. We've passed peak progress, 2023's wake up for humanity. China appoints naval commander as defense minister. Not high-tech burgers, how U.S. fast food giants are supersizing investment in China. The Sydney Morning Herald. Foreign investment in China's fast food industry is growing, despite tensions between China and its Western trading partners. Major American fast food chains, including KFC, McDonald's, and Starbucks, are expanding their presence in China, attracted by the country's large consumer market. KFC's parent company recently opened its 10,000th restaurant in China and plans to have stores within reach of half the population by 2026. Similarly, McDonald's plans to open 3,500 new stores in China within the next 4 years, while Starbucks has invested $220 million in a manufacturing and distribution facility in eastern China. The investments in consumer goods come as many U.S. companies are shifting investments to other locations or repatriating their earnings due to concerns about security controls and protectionism. However, overall foreign investment in China has fallen this year, with net foreign direct investment in China sinking to a deficit of $11.8 billion in Q3 2023. The uncertainty surrounding China's business environment has caused 43% of members of the U.S.-China Business Council to report that China's business environment has deteriorated in the past year, and 21% are investing fewer resources in China. From Gaza to Ukraine, U.S. risks imperial overstretch as China waits in wings. SCMP opinion. The recent conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza risks spilling over into a wider conflict that could divert U.S. attention away from its rivalry with China, according to an op-ed in the South China Morning Post. The author argues that the U.S. historically has benefited from maneuvering its rivals into wars while it remains aloof, citing the World Wars and the Korean and Vietnam Wars. However, the U.S. is currently finding itself embroiled in conflicts while China is able to profit from them. This comes as the U.S. seeks to focus on its competition with China and its global leadership strategy. End the show trial of free speech hero Jimmy Lai. The Independent. The prosecution of Jimmy Lai, a 76-year-old publisher in Hong Kong, represents a new low in the city's descent into darkness under Chinese control, according to Michael Sheridan in The Independent. Lai has committed no crime recognized by any civilized government but is likely to be given a life sentence. His real offense, in the eyes of the Chinese regime, is to have published free speech through his top-selling tabloid newspaper, Apple Daily, and its digital editions. Lai, a British citizen, could have escaped but instead chose to stay in Hong Kong during the 2019 protests. Sheridan argues that the British government has no power in this matter but that the international legal profession can exercise the power of shame and ostracism, while the business community should realize what this trial means for them. Sheridan also calls for the British judges who still sit as non-permanent judges on the Hong Kong Court of Final Appeal to resign, stating that it is hard to see how their honorable view of supporting the rule of law can survive a sequence of trials that belong to the debased tradition of communist judiciaries. We've passed peak progress, 2023's wake up for humanity. The Sydney Morning Herald. The year 2023 has been marked by regressive events and a decline in progress, leading to a sense of pessimism rather than optimism. The Israel-Palestinian conflict has become more intractable, the counteroffensive in Ukraine has not achieved the desired breakthroughs, and the delay in U.S. funding to Kyiv could benefit Russia and embolden China's ambitions towards Taiwan. The belief that liberal democracy would lead to lasting peace in the Middle East and Russia becoming a Western partner has been discredited. Democracy is in decline globally, as evidenced by the 2023 report from Freedom House. Technological progress, particularly in artificial intelligence, raises concerns about autonomous weaponry and job displacement. Climate change has become an existential threat, with record-breaking temperatures and the potential for mass displacement of people. The interconnectedness of global problems exacerbates the challenges, such as the competition between Ukraine and Israel for U.S. munitions and the disruption of global supply chains due to attacks on cargo ships. Australia, traditionally seen as aspirational, is facing challenges in home ownership and economic growth. However, despite these difficulties, there is still hope for progress and improvement. China appoints naval commander as defense minister. New York Times. China has appointed a naval commander with experience in the South China Sea as its Minister of Defense. Admiral Dong Jun was promoted by President Xi Jinping after formal approval by lawmakers. His appointment may help to settle uncertainty around the high ranks of the military after the previous minister, General Li Shangfu, disappeared and was removed from office, along with the top two commanders of the rocket force. The role of defense minister is not one of the most powerful in China's military hierarchy, but Admiral Dong will be responsible for handling talks with the U.S. military. China appoints new defense minister after months of uncertainty following firing of predecessor. The Globe and Mail. China has appointed a new defense minister, Dong Jun, after months of uncertainty following the firing of his predecessor, Li Shangfu, for reasons that remain unknown. The leadership change comes as the US and its allies in Asia increasingly resist China's bid to assert itself as the dominant military power in the region. Dong's naval background is significant as China has used its navy to assert its territorial claims, particularly in the South China Sea. Dong's appointment follows a series of removals of officials in the military hierarchy, as well as the financial and diplomatic sectors, amid speculation of corruption and spying allegations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Six from the Six-Dimensional World, your witty and observant host for today's news briefing. Let's dive into the headlines. First up, we have the U.S. fast food giants supersizing their investments in China. Despite tensions between China and its Western trading partners, KFC, McDonald's, and Starbucks are expanding their presence in the country. KFC's parent company even plans to have stores within reach of half the population by 2026. Looks like China's large consumer market is too delicious for these fast food chains to resist. Moving on, we have an interesting opinion piece from the South China Morning Post. The author suggests that the recent conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza could divert U.S. attention away from its rivalry with China. The U.S. has historically benefited from maneuvering its rivals into wars while staying aloof, but now it finds itself embroiled in conflicts, giving China an opportunity to profit. Oh no, U.S., you might be stretching yourself too thin. Next, we have the case of Jimmy Lai, a prominent publisher in Hong Kong. The Independent argues that his prosecution represents a new low in the city's descent into darkness under Chinese control. Lai's crime? Publishing free speech through his top-selling tabloid newspaper. The author calls for international legal professionals to shame and ostracize the Chinese regime, and for British judges to resign from the Hong Kong Court of Final Appeal. Let's hope justice prevails, and free speech can shine through. In a thought-provoking piece, the Sydney Morning Herald suggests that 2023 has been a wake-up call for humanity, with regressive events and a decline in progress. From conflicts to climate change to job displacement, it seems like we've hit a roadblock. But fear not, my dear viewers. There is still hope for progress and improvement. Let's keep pushing forward. Lastly, China has appointed a new defense minister, Admiral Dong Jun, with experience in the South China Sea. This appointment comes after months of uncertainty following the firing of his predecessor. As the U.S. and its allies resist China's bid for military dominance in the region, Admiral Dong's naval background could play a significant role in handling talks with the U.S. military. Will he navigate these turbulent waters smoothly? Only time will tell. And that's a wrap for today's news briefing. Remember, my dear viewers, even in the face of challenges, there is always a glimmer of hope. Now it's time for you to join the discussion. What are your thoughts on these headlines? I'm all ears. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.